So, this is a question that's been around for like 3 years, but it became a main topic of conversation the day the trailer came out. When is Hytale going to release to the public? I've made my theories on what the game would be like, and then made several more videos on what I want from the game, who is going to come back and play it. But it's been a while, so I think it's time I go back to theorizing a bit. If my predictions were on point before, this one might be too. So, first up, one of the most important details to consider is how long Hytale has been around. It's been at least a few years now, so you can only imagine how much progress they've actually gotten done during that time. With a skilled, efficient team, that's generally how long you'd expect it to take for a game like this to be made, maybe a bit more. That was really all anyone had to go on until the trailer actually came out, which definitely changed everything, because that's when people like me went from, is Hytale going to happen, to when. Just in the trailer itself, the gameplay looked near complete, and so much of it was so fluid that many people actually thought it was just custom animations made for the trailer, and not actual gameplay. However, when probed about it, the team confirmed it was actual footage from real gameplay. It's actually that well done. Everything just looked so polished and frankly complete. It actually made me wonder what could possibly be left to do at all. A lot of people were tweeting at the team asking constantly when the game was coming out, until almost a week later when Simon himself posted this tweet. Please note that some questions can't be answered yet because we haven't figured it out yet, like release or beta date. So, as of December 19th, they had no stable release date, though I'm sure they have some ballpark estimate of when they expect and want to release, and I believe I have a guess for when that'll be. I firmly believe Hytale's public beta will be released in early June, just in time for summer, and I'll explain why with multiple points of reasoning. Since the trailer's release, they've made a little over half a dozen blog posts for the game explaining different details of it, starting with one related to fog and general aesthetics, one for functionality of the world generation, a couple for music, etc. But the one I'm most focused on is actually the original one, the fog. Fog, being a very subtle aspect to the game that only affects appearance, is completely done and explained in detail. What are the odds they'd have completed a feature like that before really important details that make the game work at all, or make the gameplay enjoyable? Just seeing that fog, of all things, is perfected, and the fact that they cared enough to show us that immediately, makes me assume almost everything else in the game is done as well. Frankly, I'd go as far as to say they probably have almost no actual work left to do, and really are only doing slight touch-ups and playtesting to work out all the kinks and bugs before delivering it to the public. Next point in my favor ties in with name reservation. I stumbled upon this point sort of by accident because of my other interests. See, I wanted to know everything I could about usernames, so I found where they'd mentioned name reservations on the website, found it in their FAQ. They said people will be able to reserve unique usernames within the next few months. A few is almost unanimously defined as 3, and the trailer came out a little over 3 months ago. So that implies name reservations are released to the public extremely soon. And I believe if they're going to let people reserve usernames, there's no way the game itself is following that far behind. It just doesn't make sense to let people reserve a username for a game that's coming out 6 months later. The next major reason I believe they'll be releasing by summer is because they've publicly stated that they intend to update the game semi-frequently post-release, like Minecraft has. If the game is never going to be completely done with, then that means they can release it without quite a few features that they want to add later. The game needs to feel complete to be enjoyable, but a few animals, hostile mobs, or biomes being left out is okay, since they can just add them to the game later in updates. Now, I've just got one more thing left, which is riding hype. There are 2 times a year for games and media in general to flourish the most, and that is the winter holidays and summer break. Summer rush is generally the peak of playtime, since kids are home from school, and winters are arguably even better because everyone's getting money from the holidays to spend on video games. But they missed out on winter rush, obviously, since that was months ago, so I can only assume their goal is to capitalize on the boom of gamers in summer as much as possible. The best way to do this, of course, would be to release just a couple weeks before summer begins or just right as it starts. And of course, keep in mind, they're on a clock now that the trailer's been released. The longer it takes to launch the game, the more people will get bored or lose interest. If they take much longer than my estimated time frame, people will start to get bored and just not really care as much. It's important to be as quick as possible now, while also making sure the game is as perfect as it needs to be. Considering everything I've just mentioned, I believe late May or early June is the best and most likely time for the game to release. Just because I want to slap a day on it and see how close I get, let's say my guess is Saturday, June 1st, keeping it simple. So, yeah, when do you guys think the game will be released? Comment below what you think makes most sense. Explain your reasoning, as I'm eager to see any insight I may not have considered. I'd love to have a bit of a debate and see how far this conversation can go. So, thanks so much for watching the video. Please do leave a like and subscribe for more content if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.